Did you hit start recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
there we
says
go.
recording.
We're going. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the F.A.T podcast. What do we call these episodes?
The CoronaCast.
CoronaCast Volume 2.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
Social distancing from a lot more than 6 feet apart.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm here in the luxurious, infamous Studio 1500V in Fullerton, California, with a special guest. Say hi, Ninja.
Little Ninja.
So how you guys doing?
That cat is sick of your shit. All right.
Dude, he is a freaking asshole, man. So he's all yesterday. He slept from probably 8 in the morning to 11 or 12 at night.
Wow.
And then as soon as Elizabeth and I went to bed, Elizabeth went to bed about 10:30, 11. I went to bed at midnight. As soon as I laid my head down, he decided to jump in between us and just fucking holler his head off.
Oh my god.
All fucking night. So I reach over, I pet his head, I give him some scratches and everything like that. Help him for about 15, 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden he just kicked right back into it. So he's a night person for sure.
Isn't that typical of pussy to get between you and your woman?
Yeah, he's that night pussy that you get on Beach Boulevard.
That's right.
He's on that David graveyard schedule that I was in like my early 20s, where I would just sleep from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every night. So
those are serial killer hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you were even on that schedule when we started Beyond Kayfabe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the night that you went on the street. You were the week before this one episode I'm going to get into. You were talking about how, I haven't missed an episode and I've been great. And then Crispy and Mike come over. I go into your room. You're dead asleep. I took your picture. We use it as a cover art. We just recorded without you.
Yeah. And I still made it on the episode.
And you still made it on the episode.
That's true.
I fucking don't know how, dude. That is going to be, to this day, one of the great mysteries of the podcasting years is how the fuck Dave Pinkston made it onto the show. It was just a little quib, just a little bit, but god damn it, you know, kept your Cal Ripken like streak alive.
Yeah.
So
what's going on, boys? How's your week?
Oh man, dude, I've got a crazy fucking story to tell you guys. Courtesy of our friend Steve. I was talking to him earlier about some crazy shit that went on like early this morning here in the Heights. Mike, I don't know if you were aware of this. I don't think it was on the Buzz on the Facebook, though, the Rolling Heights Buzz. But so I'm gonna try my best here to break it down, condense it. But around 4:40 in the morning, a couple of fucking kids that wanted to play Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, and they ended up fucking crashing into a house.
Oh shit.
A couple of houses away from Steve. He lives probably about like, I don't know, a mile and a half or so away from me and Mike. We kind of form this triangle. He's at the top point and me and Mike are on the bottom. But anyways, so this fucking car just loses control.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
I guess that's true. That's true. But in this particular story, he's at the top point. Anyway, so, and the information that he got is from, firsthand from the people who live in the house, as well as like the officers report and all that shit. So something happened. These guys lost control and they fucking flew into this house through the kitchen, narrowly missing the fucking gas line, but just caused to fucking damage. I mean, it was like a loud fucking bang. And so what happened was these two idiots, when they crashed, decided like, hey, let's book it. And they fucking left the scene. They got out of the car and they ran. But what they didn't know is that they were bleeding quite a bit. And they literally left a trail of blood from the scene to their house. And they live right down the street. This is
my God.
This is a true story. They left this trail. Now, I don't know how bad it was, but I guess it was obviously enough to follow all the way to their house down the street. after the cops and everybody showed up, they followed the blood trail to them. And apparently the house they live in, this is where it gets better and better. Apparently it is a house of ill repute because either their mom or the lady that lives there is supposedly a well-known whore.
Oh my God.
Dude. It's just one of those, what is it, 22 Acacia Avenue, Iron Maiden songs, right? So they go to the house, and I don't know the rest of the story. I'm sure that they probably arrested them. It was probably open and shut case. They just looked for the guys bleeding.
Yeah.
But so this happened early in the But here's the best part is that the house that got hit had surveillance cameras and documented this whole fiasco, and Steve saw the footage, and he said that it was just, everything was quiet, and all of a sudden here comes this car. The car hits the curb and gets fucking hang time and just boom right into the fucking kitchen.
Wow.
Damn.
Knocking everything easily, probably a couple of $100,000 worth of damage, including the car, give or take. I don't know the make and model of the car, but it just collides with this house. And just, I think that the blinkers were on. No, the blinkers were on, but that'd have been funny if it was. But just, and then they fucking book it, right? Which I don't encourage, but I can understand people being so scared. Now, they're either drunk or high, or I don't know what it is. Definitely something. But 17, 18, maybe 19, around that. Very, very young. But just the fact that they literally left the fucking trail to their house. And
all the way there.
And just for your reference, the house is on the corner right there on Blandford and Pathfinder.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yes, and apparently, according to Steve, a well-known whore.
Well, damn, there's a lot of things that I didn't know then,
Which I could partially say that I was aware of such activity in that area. I just didn't know the actual house, and thanks to Steve, he pointed it out. So just a scumbag house. He said that obviously there's a lot of shady people that hang out there, and a lot of crazy, gang related activity, I think he said. So definitely, a winner in our community.
Yeah.
So
definitely stoning two birds at once, huh?
Yeah. He sent me a news report from the Tribune, I think. And I got to tell you, I like Steve's story better because the story just says car crashes into a house and that's that. But he's just no, man, it fucking collided, and then they booked it, and then they fucking caught him. So I don't know. It's just crazy. All this, again, 5 o'clock in the morning, man.
That actually reminds me of the what happened when I was still at Walgreens probably about a year and a half ago. I had come into work, and they're like, dude, did you see what happened at the front of the store? I'm like, yeah, there's a bunch of shit in the store. In the front right there, all messed up. And I guess overnight about 1 or 2 in the morning, the same thing where the Walgreens is. It's on the corner right there, and there's a little hill. And I guess some drunk driver again. They were going too fast. They went past the thing, and they went on that hill, and they just happened to go over the hill, and they hit the parking lot. And we have these little 2 barriers on the front, so to stop shit from that happening, So they hit the barrier, they hit the trash can. So you just see the car in the surveillance footage. The car comes down, hits the trash can. The trash can goes flying in the air, just fucking spinning out of control, and the car just all crashed and shit. And then they just skid all the place, and there's sparks, and it was a big old fiasco. I'm like, how the hell does that happen?
I remember when you told me that, because I was picking you up from work, and I saw the trash can. I said, what happened? And then you told me, and then we actually went back to the sidewalk, and we could see the skid marks and everything, and we followed the path.
Oh yeah,
there it is. Yeah. So.
And the crazy thing is that if that was during business hours, dude, that would have totally killed somebody, because they landed kind of just where everybody's at, and to make it even more stupid, they even brought the trash can back, missing half of the trash can and all. Oh, we're just gonna put it back and just have it there in front of the store. Half missing and shit. So I'm like,
even the trash can couldn't get a day off.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fucking wild, man. And see, the thing is, it gets super quiet where me and Mike live. I mean, like it's quiet as a tomb, man. You can hear the train, when it rolls through. You can hear the fucking the school alarm, the bell when it goes off in the school, and that's just right there from us. And didn't hear anything, nothing. So it was just pretty wild. And just on top of everything happening right now, that shit's got to go on,
Yeah, those guys are double fucked because, I mean, on like a regular day, that would be bad. But one, that's a bad thing. And two, they're like, okay, well, you're supposed to be inside. I mean, there's no like official curfew, but they're like everything closes at 9. So there's no reason to be out after 9 anyway. So they're just kind of like, I think, fucked on all fronts there.
Yeah, Steve said he was sleeping and then he heard a loud bang and he said, "What the fuck was that?"
But then you also don't take things all that seriously either, because especially with the Rolling Heights buzz, somebody farts down the street and they're like, "Oh my god, what was that sound?" So you're kind of just like,
So they can probably hear mine in the studio,
right?
I don't know, Bubs. I got to tell you, man, my brother will testify in my defense, but I've been letting some fucking dingers fly myself, dude. We got a bunch of beans and everything. Like, try to eat healthy, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'm fully loaded at this point, so I'm gonna give you a bang for your buck. And truly, where no one wins. There are no winners in that scenario.
These high protein quarantine meals that we have to eat so we don't die.
Yeah,
it's just.
Yeah,
that's ripped fucking Whoppers, man.
And you know what, dude? I'll own up to the really bad ones because I got to tell you, man, I'm shitting like a champ, dude. It's just the older you get, that I heard it when I was younger, and I thought that's bullshit. You're probably just got a bad diet, but no, dude. The older you get, you're just not, shitting the same, and you just pray, you pray for like good ones, man, and when they come, you're just happy. And right now, I'm eating really good. Got definitely a lot of fiber, to be technically sound on that. But I'm enjoying it, man. So it has been a secret blessing because I am eating better and healthy, because we're going for the canned goods that we normally would give to the homeless people. You're just going through your cupboards because you want to avoid going to the market often.
The can of pumpkin pie filling that everybody has.
Oh no, dude! That was cleared before the fucking quarantine, dude.
That's the first. That's the first thing we ate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that and the frosting was gone, dude. Pure frosting, man. Just all gone, baby.
A can of peaches from like
1997.
Hey man, right there. That given out during the Presidents of the United States publicity tour for the Peaches song, right? Still got those. Oh man, but yeah, so that's what's happening in our neck of the woods. Never a dull moment in Rolling Heights.
Well, down here, a few days ago, within a couple of hours of each other, there was police helicopters flying around for a kidnapping.
Oh shit!
And then a couple hours later, a 78-year-old woman was murdered in front of the Jehovah's Witness church.
Jesus.
Yeah, there was a dead body found there. And they arrested some 82-year-old guy in connection with it. So,
some guy that just got tired of his wife's shit.
Probably, that's what I'm guessing, man. So,
and just any of you guys ever watch Jackie Brown? Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown? No, Mike, you'll know the scene where De Niro shoots that what's her name, and then fucking Samuel L. Jackson's like, "You don't think you could have just told her to shut up?"
Yeah, Bridget Fonda. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "No, you don't understand. You don't understand. This was the only logical course of action. I had to gun her down in the fucking parking lot. Yeah, I had to do it."
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's all happened like within like 2 to 4 hours of each other.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And the cops are like, "Well, what were they doing out of their house in the first place?"
Yeah, because I went on because we follow Fullerton PD on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth showed me the story, and then I was reading through the comments, and it said, someone commented, "Oh, well, is that why the helicopters were out at 5:30 in the morning?" And they're like, "No, that was for a kidnapping in the area." So
or something else.
Yeah. So
like you tell that story, you're like, "Yeah, so this is what happened." They go, "Oh my god," and then you're like, "Hold on, it gets worse."
Yeah.
That's one statistic I want to look into is what do the crime statistics look like since we've all been in this, isolation, quarantine fucking thing.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine it'd be higher because people are going to take advantage of this.
I understand like looting and robberies and stuff like that, but I want to see like assaults and murders and like violent crimes, I should say.
I know domestic violence has been up. That's one thing that I read.
Yeah.
So
surprise.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, considering that the only thing that people really have the time to do is just be around each other all the time and drink and do all that, bad stuff. It happens, which sucks. But
yeah, no. Well, I don't know about the murder or the kidnappings or the cars crashing into houses there, but I could tell you with the looting, it only took one brick to make that window drop, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you.
People
snuck it in there.
People getting arrested for paddleboarding out in the ocean by themselves.
Yeah.
So
that's not crazy. The only time in the history of mankind can you get arrested for fucking jogging at the park.
Yeah.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Oh man. Oh dude, it's crazy. These are the times, man. These are the fucking times.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that, everybody I know, including you guys, everyone's doing good. Nothing really new to report. Everyone's still, healthy, happy. I actually left the house for the first time in a while. I don't know if you guys know this, but like gas prices are like super low. They're incredibly low. And I knew that I had about half a tank. Go ahead.
They're like $2.60 over by the studio right now, which is the
cheapest
in a very long time
over here. Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'll say mine after.
Okay. So I was saying so when I was talking to my brother about it, and I was like, I'm just gonna go. Get out of the house. Let me drive. I try to drive once a week just to kind of, keep my bearings for driving because it feels weird. Like if I don't drive for a week, I get behind the wheel, I'm like a little off. So I went and put gas in and just like, yeah, dude, 250, 259, somewhere around there. And, filled up my tank and, just driving around, and certain parts seem kind of normal. There's enough cars going around and certain parts just seem empty, but it's crazy, man. It's so weird. Cause it was in La Habra. That's the first time I actually left. Cause I just drive around the block here. I just, drive around the area, but it felt weird. And then started kind of getting normal again. Okay. Like just driving around, and like there are people out there, man. Like I saw this jogger, he wasn't wearing any fucking face mask or gloves. He didn't give a shit, and then there was a long ass fucking line outside of this taco joint that me and Mike usually go to. And that kind of makes sense. People are still there, but can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're saying hi to Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have Dave on my screen right now, so I couldn't see it. Hi, Elizabeth, okay. If you're there, if you can hear me. So yeah, it's parts of it seems normal, other parts don't, but it does feel nice to get out and drive around. I don't know if you guys have been doing that at all,
Well, I've been having to work. I worked 3 security shifts this past week, which was like a shock because after like 3 weeks of not working, I had to readjust myself.
Yeah.
And my knees and my right knee, I don't know. Like I know knee problems are pretty frequent in our family.
Yeah.
Like Bubba can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know what it is. My knee does not feel stable at all when I walk on it.
It's probably because your stabilizer muscles weakened.
Yeah, so it was 3 shifts at a Walmart distribution center and 8 hours apiece. It wasn't hard work, but again, I get real anxious and everything. So, and I have to be within 3 feet of people for like a couple hours at a time, So, like, I'm super anxious about that. I have to check bags and make sure people aren't stealing cell phones and whatnot. And my knee has been bothering me, so that's been wonderful. But As far as the gas goes, yeah, it's about $2.80 down in Riverside. So.
Is that for premium or regular?
Premium.
Yeah, okay. So it's
my truck.
It's about $2.60 for regular.
Yeah, my truck uses premium because it's like 20 years old.
Yeah.
So we
She needs premium, dude.
So I filled up the other day and I got about 18 gallons of gas, and it cost me about $60. If I would have got it just a month earlier, it would have cost me about $85 or something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's the savings right there.
That's a lot of pop vinyls, baby.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been buying wrestling stuff recently. I'm kind of slowing down on pop vinyls. I have everything that I want pre-ordered, but yeah.
Says the guy doing the show live from a pop vinyl store.
Oh, this is my collection over here. Behind me is Claire's. These two shelves. So, and then I got this. I had a setup originally out in the living room, where I actually had pretty decent lighting.
Yeah.
And then Claire's like, "Oh yeah, just go ahead and do the podcast in the bedroom." And I'm like, "Okay." I spent all that time trying to set up a decent, stream, and I guess not. No, but I mean, it's not too bad. Hopefully I'm not like too blinding right now.
No, you're fine.
I can see you're wearing a Blue Jays hat, but I can barely see that you're wearing a Blue Jays hat.
Oh, that part, yeah, it's a little washed out, but
yeah.
Oddly enough, I was wearing my Dodgers hat. I guess we got a baseball theme going on. I guess we can still fucking do it, make it happen. So, looking at you, Mike.
I know, shit. I gotta. Let me see what I can scavenge around here. Hold on.
I went crazy. I went crazy on lids. Had like a 70% off sale.
Yeah.
So every show that we do, I'm gonna have a different hat to wear.
Really? Is that sale still going on?
They're doing 60% sale on lids right now.
Hey, that's not a baseball hat.
That's the wrong sport, Mike.
I don't have one, but that's the closest I can get.
You don't have
I can't see him. What's he wearing?
A Patriots hat.
Patriots hat. Yeah.
God damn, dude.
You don't have an Angels hat, Mike?
I don't have one anymore. I had one, but it's fucking old, and I had to get rid of it. So. Yeah.
Well, Christmas is coming up, man.
That's right. There you go.
Nobody take that. That's what I'm getting Mike this year.
Because
I know
spoiler alert.
I know I can buy that and then not show up 2 weeks after Christmas like I always do with Mike.
All right.
Boys.
Although I was looking at all the Angels hats that they have on like Fanatics and lids, and the selection's pretty low right now. A lot of the Angel stuff sold out.
Oh, really?
For whatever reason.
I think it's just like, people are home and they got their stimulus checks, so they're just like board shopping right now,
Yeah.
I just bought a two-tone periwinkle Angels hat, like the 96 logo hat.
Yeah.
So it has like the blue bill.
Nice.
So yeah.
It's
a 47 brand, so hopefully they'll send it, but I don't know. I ordered it like 5 days ago.
Yeah.
And they charged me for it, so I don't know.
I will say, if you order fitted New Era hats, and it's the the Cooperstown collection, get a size bigger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I got my normal size, and it's a little tight, but not too bad.
I don't think they make hats that size for me. If I have to get a size bigger.
Oh, they do.
My giant fucking nugget.
What size do you wear? Is your Blue Jays hat an adjustable, or is it a fitted?
Yeah, it's an adjustable dad hat. So I like dad hats. They're just more comfortable. So
all right.
You used to wear one all the time. The Cubs one.
So. Yeah.
I know. Well, ever since I have a few dad hats. Like I have like 3 or 4 Cubs ones. I have the Blackhawks, the Bears, the Kings, and I think I might have some other teams, but I don't know. I've always liked the New Era fitted. Even the snapback hats are okay.
Yeah.
So
I can't adjust the bills on those. They always like do that like triangle thing because I can't like bend it the right way.
See, I've come up with like the perfect way to do that. So, like, that's why I got this nice little curve on this bill right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, don't tell your secret, Bob. Save that for the premium subscribers.
That's for my hat podcast that you have to subscribe to our Patreon to get. So.
That's the called Hats Off with Bubs.
There you go. I like that.
That's the new podcast coming up pretty soon. Hey, you got the time? Why not? So.
Well, hey, if people can make podcasts about like Funko Pops, I can do them about hats.
Absolutely. I mean, they have podcasts about everything in the air right now. So,
so surprisingly, like, go ahead, Crispy.
I was to say, I heard there was a podcast talks about podcasts. So, congratulations, everything. Podcast.
This show.
Yeah.
We talk about what we used to do.
Yeah. I don't think we did that in the last episode, so that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have.
How's everybody else doing as far as the quarantine front? Is everybody doing okay? Is everybody comfortable? Is everybody doing all right?
Oh, yeah, kind of like Dave. I started working again too at the market, so it was kind of like after being off for those 2.5 weeks, it was kind of a big adjustment again to kind of go out there and be on a schedule again, and then of course physically because your body does kind of like, especially with me, it does kind of like rust up from just kind of not being as active.
Yeah.
So that's been, I mean, it's cool. I'm out there, I'm making some money. Yeah, but it's been but I do have kind of those moments of anxiety like Dave, because I mean I have to be out there on the front lines too, and I'm kind of around people all the time, whether I'm trying to keep my 6 feet apart, they're kind of up in my space,
Do they have shields installed at the grocery store?
They have kind of like a partial shield. It's not in the whole like register, but it's pretty much in front of the part where you're like, where you have the card reader and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I've been to places where they have like a bigger shield. So I like even at our local 7-Eleven, they actually have like a big shield that kind of goes all across all of the like the front of the registers right there. So
yeah,
but it's been okay. The job's not hard right now because it's just pretty much just like a lot of like sanitation stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
So I mean it's not like hard work, but it does get kind of like tedious and kind of boring sometimes. But but like I said, I'm out there doing something, making some money, so it's all good.
I know you have eczema. Has your eczema been acting up since you've been around like cleaning chemicals and whatnot?
Actually not too bad right now, which I'm very thankful for. So yeah, which is good. Yeah, because I mean I got the gloves on, I got the face mask. I try to wear kind of like we have our shirts that we wear. So yeah, luckily it's been okay. So thankful for that.
CVS ruined my hands. They haven't been the same since. So, and that's been like 12, 13 years.
Oh really?
So yeah.
Shit.
We went to Albertsons today, and I saw a girl in the frozen food section. She was wiping down all the door handles.
Yeah.
She had a mask on. She was wiping it down. She had the cleaner and a rag and no gloves.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Somebody in the knob polisher.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of the places with those shields. Like we went to Food for Less to go grocery shopping the other day, and they have those huge ones that basically stretch all the way from like the end of the conveyor belt to the beginning of the bagging conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And there's this lady in front of us. She had like a basket full of shit, like enough to feed like 3 or 4 families. And I looked at that glass and I just had the urge just to fucking cross-check her right into it, man.
Oh, damn.
My starvation for sports is still going strong. So I'm like, man, I wonder if this would be like when the glass got shattered and got sprayed all into Wayne Gretzky's wife's head.
Yeah.
But no, we're doing okay over here too. I've been going back to work. I work a couple hours a day at my school.
Yeah.
I'll do that for 1 more week. So next week I'll work 2 hours a day, but I still get paid in full. And then after that, I got to do a series of online trainings again. But like piggybacking on what you guys are talking about staying healthy, like we've been going for walks every day. Like we'll walk like sometimes about 5 miles a day.
Yeah.
So we'll just go. We'll take the dog once in the afternoon, then right after dinner, and then I'll come home and I'll lift weights and everything. Well, on Sunday I went to bed and we went for a walk. I came back and I did like my chest and my shoulder exercises. I've been working with the weights a little bit. Didn't do anything too strenuous. Felt fine, and I woke up and with my ankle swollen.
Oh Jesus!
No.
Yeah. So I've got. Let's see. I've got this guy on right now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Celebrity feet. Oh.
Yeah, there we go. Celebritysfeet.com. But yeah, man, it's been gnarly, man. I don't know how the hell it happened. I woke up and it felt like I sprained my ankle.
Oh wow.
And it was the weirdest thing. And like I said, I didn't do anything. What's up?
You're old. That's
yeah, I'm old. I was like,
yeah.
God damn, this is an old man injury. This is like that Louis C.K. bit about him waking up with a sore ankle, and they're like, and him having to do warm-ups in the morning. He's like, well, that's just something that you do now.
Yeah.
So,
you don't have gout, do you?
See, I thought it was gout, but it's not red.
Oh,
it's not red, and it's not warm to the touch or anything like that. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, maybe I should call Dave to see what if he ever had it in his ankle. And yeah, it's just for the last couple of years, it's just been bothering me.
Yeah, I know Grampy, Nanny used to tell me because he had gout.
Yeah.
She said that he would get it in his ankles, I think.
Yeah.
So it attacks any joint pretty much, just wherever it wants to, wherever the crystals and everything want to gather. It's a pain in the ass.
Luckily,
but I think
it hasn't gone to my wiener.
I was thinking wrist myself, but sure.
But
both.
The if you had like a pins and needles feeling to it, that would probably be gout, because that's what my toe feels like every time I get it. So
it's definitely not that. So I think it's just I'm old. And I mean, I have bursitis in my knees, so I'm thinking of maybe bursitis in my ankle too. So, and that shit is no joke. It hurts, man.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
As far as me, besides my knee just being, not being stable, down here in Dandyland, I don't know if you guys saw the news reports. I texted you guys about it.
Yeah.
About all the news vans. Apparently that one we talked about on the last podcast, that one nursing home that had like 30 residents get like coronavirus or something, like pretty much only one nurse showed up to work.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like from like about 7 a.m. to probably about 6 p.m. There were ambulances out there transporting people to other nursing homes in Kaiser and whatnot, and hospitals, and then like just news vans from every like local network.
Hey, there's that news van again.
Yeah, and like I went downstairs to take Daisy pee, and this paparazzi guy on like one of those like single wheel skateboard things. It's like a skateboard that has a single wheel in the center.
Yeah.
And he had like a GoPro, and he was like just like shooting like around, just all the chaos. And he came up to me, and I was like, Daisy was going pee, and I was like, he's like, oh yeah, can I get an interview? I'm like, no.
Can't you see my dog is pissing?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then he's the one who told me. And then, so I went back upstairs because I forgot to put on my mask. So I went back upstairs, put my mask on. We went back down. And as we were walking down the front of our apartment, there was a news guy sitting in a car. I could hear him rehearsing his lines.
Oh, shit.
Now brown cow.
Pretty much. Cow. He kept saying the first line over and over again.
Arsonists had oddly shaped feet.
Like it was the weirdest like thing I think I've ever seen.
Sorry.
And then like people like stupidly, like people are like gathering on the corner
Yeah.
Like, and there was an idiot reporter shooting in the middle of the intersection. Like, Bubs and Crispy have been to Dandyland. You haven't been here, right, Mike?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, you've been here? Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
But you know how you turn onto that one street?
Yeah.
That goes on to Magnolia?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a reporter. They had to set up a camera right in the intersection, standing right at the entrance of the street, like right in the middle. I'm like, why the fuck are you there? I'm like, that is fucking dangerous as hell because people do not know how to drive around.
Yeah.
Here. So
obviously they've never been to Riverside.
Yeah. Not too much common sense for them.
But yeah, like. It was pretty crazy, and I haven't heard any updates about the nursing home, so like I haven't read anything. But
well, if they're looking for people to work, we watched a special on Time Warner News the other day, and there's a bunch of nurses out there on strike because they want to go to work. I was like, well, really? There you go. Head on down the Riverside. They could probably use it.
Oh yeah, dude, they're talking about converting an old Sears into a temporary hospital.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I guess they're doing inspections right now to see if like it could actually like support it, but yeah, like they're gonna try to turn the closed down Sears into a hospital, which I mean, if you're gonna turn anything into that, you might as well, because that fucking place is gigantic. So
might as well call some ghost hunters, because that place is haunted with the fucking low wages and shit, dude. That's what that place is. All the old folks would probably improve the smell.
Yeah, but
fuck Sears. I quit, man. They didn't fire or lay my ass off. I fucking quit. Fucking assholes.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's been pretty good. I mean, we went to Walmart the other night.
Yeah,
got a bunch of food for like the week. So
are they limiting the number of people?
No, there are a ton of people in there. What makes it worse is, I don't know about the Walmarts in your area. They have all the other stock like out like in the middle of the aisles.
Yeah.
So like they had like a bunch of stickers on the floor saying this is like a one-way aisle and everything. Mm-hmm. Obviously, people aren't fucking paying attention to them.
They never do. They don't pay attention to shit.
And yeah, I mean, and surprisingly, it was decently stocked. Like, there was a lot of toilet paper, though they still don't have my brand, which I'm upset about. Scott is dragging ass, so
Scott sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck Scott.
sounds like Dave's dragging ass.
But
Dave's been using leaves from the trees outside, because that's basically what Scott feels like.
I love Scott.
Yeah,
I think my brand.
So. I think Daisy's taking you outside. You go to the bathroom, dude. I think it's the other way around.
Now, luckily, we got like some like recycled like brand toilet paper or whatever it's called, made from like recycled paper from Amazon.
How environmentally friendly of you.
Hey, it was all they had. Fuck it. So it was like 48 rolls. So I'm like, okay, this will last us like 2 weeks.
That toilet paper is recycled, 100% recycled from all the fucking complaints from Amazon employees. They just took them all and made it into toilet paper, because that's what Bezos was doing to begin with. He was just wiping his ass with all these fucking complaints. He's like, hey, I got an idea here. Another fucking 40 million in my bank account. God damn, that guy's got a lot of money. Man.
Yeah, I know, and he just got more money apparently, according to like a report I read, like an article. So rich people will be rich.
I was talking to somebody about Bezos, and they're like, that guy's got like 140, 50, 60 billion dollars. I go, yeah, but he still looks like a fucking doesn't matter how much money a man has, because he does, man.
Yeah.
It's the money, dude. That's what's her name, the former news anchor, weather chick, or whatever the fuck she was, that's dating him. It's all about the money, dude. There's no way. A guy like that, no fucking way.
Well, I mean, women like that tend to flock to the money. So
yeah. Well,
but
what it is.
Any other updates or stories or anything about your local area or about you guys?
I did see someone make a creative mask last week.
Yeah.
So have you guys seen like all the
we all did.
people you guys have all seen like the posts on Facebook and stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other day Elizabeth and I were coming back from getting something to eat, and we're going to make a right turn to get to the street where the studio is, and this guy's coming across the crosswalk, and I see he's got this thing over his face, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, is that like a snow cone wrapper?
Oh my god.
So upon closer inspection, as we got closer, the guy took a fucking kid's party hat and put it over his face. So he had this fucking cone sticking out like that. It was white with colored polka dots. Dude, it was amazing.
Looking like a discount Marty Skrull.
It looked like Ice Cream Parlor Spy versus Spy.
Shit.
A shame it didn't have a fucking ball at the end, huh?
I was fucking dying, dude. It was amazing.
Awesome.
It's by far the funniest thing.
That's a good one.
And then we came home and we're like, he probably stuffed it with like paper towels and shit, thinking that was gonna work.
Probably coffee filters.
Yeah. So.
I mean, it as long as it covers the hole, I guess, and it covers his mouth and nose.
Yeah.
People don't know how to wear masks, and the Walmart distribution center I was at, there had to I was working around hundreds of people a day, like literally, probably at least 500 a day. Like that's how much in and out all day long.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times I wanted to tell somebody put the fucking mask over your nose. Like I know it's uncomfortable, but I'm like the whole point is to cover your nose and mouth. So it could stop some of the particles from entering your system. And I'm just like, ugh, I just want to yell at people. I
mean, at my job, I have to constantly tell them because we even have all that shit on the door. I mean, it says that you literally can't go in the store without a face mask and it worn properly. And like people are still walking up like, oh, really? Are you serious? I'm like, well, yeah. You know,
Claire's signs there for decoration.
Yeah.
All right.
Claire's work tried to do that, and then corporate called them and were like, "Oh no, you can't have that sign up. It might discourage people from shopping."
Well,
and I'm like, "Oh, good. They want to put you in danger, and they want to put your family in danger,
exactly.
just so they can sell a bottle of oil and a couple of air fresheners."
Exactly.
So I'm like, "Fucking assholes." Yeah. So.
And like the funny thing too is that we have it set up where at the supermarket we have they have the two entrances. Well, one of the entrances it's only like one way in, one way out. So and we even have a big old sign saying that that this entrance is blocked. Do not come in this way. People see it. It's where they can clearly see it, but they still try and walk up in there. And I'm like, no, you can't go in that way. And they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And then they'll just keep walking inside. Fuck me, right? I'm like, okay.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's about all that's going on.
Yeah, same old shit.
We're 43 minutes in, so that was a hell of an opening.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, but if
it ain't gonna get better.
If you're a wrestling fan and you've been living under a rock this week, WWE decided to fire a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
And before I get into the list, I just wanted to say it was completely unnecessary after all the stuff I read and after hearing their call, their shareholders call that they put out and everything, saying that they're going to make a profit this year. They had $500 million in cash reserves, and then add on top of that with finding out that the WWE and the XFL weren't separate entities, were not separate entities. As it turns out WWE owned like 25% of Class B stock in the XFL. And I'm just like, that's fucking pathetic. And then on top of that, Linda McMahon's Super PAC donated $18 million to Donald Trump's campaign or something like that.
Wow.
just hours before WWE was deemed essential business in Florida.
Convenient, huh?
Yeah, these releases bugged the shit out of me. So let me run.
And before you do, let me just say that I think the thing that's really irritating about it too is that you look at a lot of the people that were either fired or furloughed or same shit really, but I don't think that any of them were like really big money contracts. There might have been some. Obviously, there were some higher ones in there.
Yeah,
but I don't think there were any huge.
Yeah, the couple. I'll get into the list, but a couple of them just re-signed for big money, literally just months ago, and you could probably assume who that was.
Yeah.
But let me get into the list. Drake Maverick, Rockstar Spud,
that was a heartbreaking video.
Yeah, that was
man.
I mean, I haven't really watched or cared for WWE in a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
I watched WrestleMania and it was entertaining, and then I watched Raw the next night and it was just the same old shit.
Yeah.
But and I really didn't care much for Drake Maverick or Rockstar Spud, but he was entertaining for what it was. But after watching that video, man, I'm like, God damn.
Yeah,
that poor guy.
And what's just added on top of the frustration with everything.
Yeah.
But the next one on the list was Kurt Hawkins, which you feel bad for him because this is the second time that he's been fired during mass firings.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was released, I think, back in 2012 or 2014 or something like that. When they fired Drew McIntyre years ago and everything.
Yeah.
And he had his response was, pretty looking at what he's doing, he's taking it all, he's trying to make the best out of the situation from what I've seen, which good on him, but he's probably used to it at this point, which is sad to say. And then here are the two big money contracts that got released were Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Good Brothers. That one surprised me because they literally just main evented the first night of WrestleMania with AJ Styles and Undertaker.
Yeah, you're like.
Did you guys read what AJ Styles said about them being released, about how he feels responsible for it?
Yeah.
And how he felt that he should have done more to protect his little brothers?
Yeah. Which, again, but then in the same thing he was talking about, he was like, he did that whole this is business bullshit speech that Seth Rollins put out. I'm just like, no, this isn't business. This is complete horseshit. You hoard talent for the last 4 years and then just decide, it's convenient to get rid of them, so let's get rid of a bunch of people, And
there's also reports stating that I think Vince is no longer looking at AEW as that big of a threat, and he's not as concerned with certain talent going over there, which I don't know how much that plays into it, but go ahead.
Well, I think what bothered me is that this is, AEW can't really sign anybody right now, as they're running tape shows, their roster is very limited right now, so they're not really out there signing new wrestlers. Their most recent signings being Brody Lee and Matt Hardy, literally a week before the lockdown happened. And it's just very convenient. It's like, once Impact and ROH and AEW can't sign these guys, and potentially could close eventually. Considering WWE is really the only professional wrestling company that is pretty much, fail-proof from this coronavirus epidemic. It's frustrating. The next one on the list was Eric.
I was gonna say really quick though, dude. I mean, you're right to a degree, but I don't think that's necessarily going to stop AEW. I mean, I think with Anderson and Gallows, and then a few other guys on the list that you're going to name, I think that they're still going to be in a position where they probably will try to. Although I think it's safe to say that New Japan is probably more on their well, at least with Anderson, his radar. But I don't think that's going to deter AEW from trying. I mean, there's a lot of names on this list you're going to go through.
Oh yeah,
but no, I could think of a few that they'll say, hey, we have to get these guys. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying they can't sign them now. Like probably not for at least until like October, November, when all this stuff finally starts slowing down. So,
but it has nothing. You're saying it has nothing to do with the no compete clause. You're just saying that because of the current situation.
Yeah, because I mean, let's be honest. There's not going to be mass gatherings for probably not until next year.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, AEW won't be running any like big time shows, anytime soon.
No, but it would be quite a move for Khan to just say, look, I know the situation is what it is. We're going to get these guys. We're going to put them on contract. We're going to pay them, even though we can't run shows, because we believe in them. We know that when everything gets back to normal, and then that faith, man, it's like, everybody knows that WWE, it's all about the money. They don't give a shit about the people or this or that. But there's the vibe that AEW does care about the product itself, the wrestlers, the guys. So I really think that there's a strong possibility that, they'll reach out to them, do something, even if it's just like an agreement, like, hey, when the time comes, come to us and we'll officially sign you. But I still think that they're gonna hit them up for sure.
Yeah.
At least pitch it to them.
I'm sorry. You're trying to get to the list, David. We keep interrupting. Continue.
It's okay. It's okay. We're having a conversation. It's completely fine. Next on the list is Eric Young, which, he wasn't really doing much. He was like a live event type guy. What are those, donuts, Bubba?
No, they're actually cupcakes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if you're ever in Fullerton, next time you come down here, go to Patty's Cupcakes. It's where George's is.
Yeah.
It's good. It's right next door to George's, and they have the best cupcakes I've ever had in my life.
Nice.
It's essential business, so.
Hell yeah, it is. It's cupcakes.
But my blood sugar weight's been running pretty high lately.
I imagine.
Besides the cupcakes, like.
Yeah.
So we bought 4 the other day, 2 for her, 2 for me, and I'm like, I can't chance eating it. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
Sorry. But no problem. Back to the list. Eric Young. Again, hasn't really been doing much. It is. That it just kind of sucks that they released them, and like outside after NXT, like he did absolutely nothing, which sucks because he's a good hand. He's one of those. He's one of those guys that's just a pretty good worker. Like,
I think where they failed with Eric Young was not really continuing on with Sanity.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sanity was a great stable in NXT, and they just had no idea, no direction what to do with him when they brought him up to the main roster.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much like for every NXT talent that's been coming up recently. So.
I think the only member that's still doing anything relevant is Nikki Cross, right?
Yeah, I think.
Is Eric Young's gone? Alexander Wolf is gone.
No, Alexander Wolf is in NXT UK.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah.
Right. He's part of Imperium, Walter's group.
Okay. I haven't watched NXT UK, so
yeah. And then Killian Dane, he had a pretty good run going in NXT, but I'm not sure what he's doing now. So, but next on the list was Hey Slider.
Hey Sliders.
That one sucked.
Yeah, I feel bad. Dude, the guy was in WWE for 16 years.
That's to me.
Yeah, like, he started in, I think, Deep South, and then, he's been in WWE since, 26 or for 16 years. It's
Nexus. He was in the new Nexus. What was it? Or no?
Yeah, he was part. No, he was part of the original Nexus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
the only original Nexus member left is Brian. So,
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was there before he had kids.
Yeah. His shirt that he released is pretty funny. Like
that's fucking great, dude.
That's another guy that's kind of like making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
What's the shirt? Is on Pro Wrestling Tees?
Yeah, it's a play on his "I Got Kids" shirt. It says "I Got Fired." So it's under.
That.
He's under.
God bless him for having that attitude.
He's under Heath Miller.
Okay.
Next on the list was EC3, which doesn't surprise me. Like, I think he's been wanting his release. So, like, people that have been wanting the release, I'm fine with them getting released.
Yeah, like, okay, cool.
As long as they're fine with it, that's cool. But it's like you spend all this time hoarding talent and telling them, oh, no, you can't leave. We need you. And then, oh, no, it turns out you don't need us. It turns out we're expendable. EC3, he had a decent run in NXT, didn't do shit once he got up to the main roster. Like, I think he was pretty much dead to rights once he defeated Ambrose, like, in his first night. Like, people, like, they fucking screwed EC3 over by having him do that. So, because trying to build him up as a babyface going over an established star like that, it just, it wasn't a good look for him, and you kind of feel bad for him, but he's one guy I think that'll, whether he goes back to Impact or AEW or Ring of Honor, I think he'll do pretty good things. He's a pretty talented guy. So
I think Impact seems to be the move that a lot of wrestling observers and people that report on it think is going to be the case for him. And honestly, I hope not, man. I mean, I hope that he goes to, like, Ring of Honor or even, MLW or NWA or something. Just kind of like, I don't want to say a fresh start, but just kind of like, do something different. Because he goes back, it's just like, you're going to be okay for a while, but you're going to be stuck in the same rut.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be a good fit in NWA, like, especially with the, kind of their presentation and everything. Like, he'd be like their, like, because they have, like, a lot of older guys, but they also have like not like they're kind of like the Misfit Toys kind of place. So having a guy like EC3 come in and really representing kind of like that WWE style, I think it would be good for them.
You ever watch it? You guys ever watch Power on YouTube by chance?
No, I don't.
Check it out.
Anything Jim Cornette's involved in, I try not to watch.
Yeah, me too.
So
that's here or there, but what's really cool about it, see, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it has an old territory vibe, like especially mid-Atlantic wrestling kind of vibe where they're in the studio, and it actually has a very similar setup. And I think it's cool because it's a throwback when everyone else is like kind of doing the new wave, if you will. But I saw that, Bubs. Yeah, you're not on my screen right now, but I can kind of see you in the corner there with Maurice. But it's actually, it's really interesting because, like myself, I really do like a lot of the old school, golden era of wrestling from the 80s and everything. And that presentation, it's kind of fresh. It's really interesting. And yeah, I mean, you could say what you want about Cornette, this and that, but you take him out of the equation, which I know is hard to do. It's actually a pretty decent show. And I think, in this particular case with EC3, I think it'd be a really good move for him. I think it'd be a good move for NWA. I mean, regardless of the fact, you're going to get to a point where every other company is going to start banking on ex-WWE guys. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. And the whole thing too, really quick, is like, I don't know why that argument's a big fucking deal, because it's like WWE is established as being the company. Guys are going to go and then they're going to leave and then going to go somewhere else. And if someone's doing good at one company, why wouldn't somebody else follow them to that company? I mean, It's no different than WCW back in the day signing. The difference is, like, they're not all washed up, dinosaur wrestlers. Some of these guys are in the prime of their career, and it's a good move. But I think NWA Power would be a great move for EC3.
Yeah.
Dave, back to you.
All right. I'm going to try to run through a few of these names, like really quick, just because I don't really have much to say about them. Leo Rush, he's been doing a lot of stuff in NXT. and he was one of the most recent cruiserweight champions. Yeah, I know he has backstage problems, but he's a pretty good, worker. Eric Rowan, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Because creative just kept screwing him over and over.
Big time.
Yeah. Sarah Logan, which she was just on Raw, like prior to that, and in a squash match, which sucks for her.
Going back to Eric Rowan real quick, did you guys listen to Talk of Jericho with Brody Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I caught highlights.
Yeah, I mean, it just the way that they treated Brody Lee. I mean, they treated Eric Rowan just as bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the way that they released Brody Lee is basically what they did to Eric Rowan. Like they built him up, like they did with Brody Lee when he was having those like great matches with Randy Orton and everything like that, and kind of teasing him getting a title run or at least a title shot, and then just not utilizing him. And that's basically how they did him this time too. Yeah. Giving him that whole spider angle and everything like that.
God damn it, dude. It would have been so much better if they never revealed the spider.
Yeah.
But Sarah Logan, Primo, and Epico, which I didn't realize they were still in the. I didn't even realize. Yeah, I didn't realize they were still in the company. To be honest.
Yeah, I thought they went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, apparently that's where they have been. Like they've been working shows in Puerto Rico and whatnot. Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, which they just re-signed for like 5 years.
Yeah, they're just wow. I mean,
did they just have a kid too, or are they?
I think Maria is still pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
No, yeah. I thought they had the kid.
Oh, did they? I'm not sure. So it's been a while. Yeah. So, and then we got No Way Jose, which he traveled to Raw to get squashed.
Get
fired. The next day he got released.
Really bad for. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Rusev, which granted he was talking about sitting out the rest of his contract. So, and he seemed to be like, okay, whatever, I got released, it's okay.
Yeah, he
seemed to be like one of those guys, which is fine. And then referee Mike Chioda.
That was a big
long time WWE employee.
Yeah.
He was in the WWE since what, 89, I think. Yeah. So
at least
over 30 years. Like
ever since I've been watching wrestling, he's always been there.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder why.
Sport the mullet.
I mean, yeah, it's so hopefully he gets on somewhere. Like, hopefully
I have a theory. I have a theory for that, why they might have cut him. I think it's because if you look at a lot of the referees nowadays, I think it's unfortunately that they're going with like younger people, a fresh face, younger talent, both on screen and behind the scenes as well to a degree. But I really think that's what it is. I don't think he was a big money contract. You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully he was making a good amount of money because he's been there since he was rocking the fucking mullet back in the fucking early 90s. But I really think that reasoning, again, not to defend him, it's a bullshit reason, but I think it's because they're just like, hey, you're old. They're giving them the boot. They did the same thing with a lot of guys, and we'll get to that later, but like the Fink was definitely one of them too, where they just kind of like brushed him to the side and was just like, kind of like, all right, you're too old. It's the old Yeller syndrome, we're going to put you down or put you to the side kind of thing. But I think that's why, because he's just unfortunately old. But he's a fucking great ref, dude. He was the last of the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he was the last of like their like golden era, like attitude era guys. I don't think they have anybody else.
No.
Yeah, as far as I know, he was the last guy there. Yeah.
So, and then the last name on the main roster list would be, which is very disappointing, but it was Zack Ryder. He was in the company for 15 years, and like it is just that. Like his influence on modern wrestling is very understated, like especially with all the social media and being the elite. There would be no Be the Elite if it wasn't for the
story.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Zack Ryder's YouTube show. Yeah. And I mean the guy was one of like their best, like WWE's best advocates.
Yeah.
And like they literally just relied on him and Kurt to do to announce a bunch of Mattel toys, like just like a few days before this happened. And they actually, are releasing an Edge toy that has three different heads. It's the Edge head, and then it's Kurt and Zach. Like you can like take Edge's head off and put like one of the two. You could buy like three and have all three Edge heads.
Wow.
And it's just like this guy, he got himself over big time.
Yeah.
Like he was literally before all this yes movement and everything, like he was like getting, woo 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 chants and everything. Like The Rock was cutting a promo one time and people were chanting for Zack Ryder, and through all the shit that he went through in this company and everything, it just sucks that they were like, oh no, you're not useful anymore. Go away.
It's a slap in the face because you're absolutely right. Ryder was one of those guys who WWE never pushed to a degree. Never. And he's just like, you know what? I'm going to get myself over. And he did all these things. And, the fans really got behind it. And then that, yes, he had that awesome WrestleMania moment, which I think many of us would agree was probably long overdue at that point, but it was still good that he had it. But I think the fact that if you can get yourself over without the company really behind you, I think it says a lot about who you are. And, I know right now it's a really tough time for wrestling, period, but he's going to bounce back and he's going to do even better because he just has it in him, man. He's a really good guy. And I think for a period of time, a lot of the boys, a lot of the fans maybe took him for granted to a degree, but it just really, it's just a shitty situation because you're like, you know what? He's not the best. He's not the worst. He's there. And it's like, I can't imagine the company not having a guy like Zack Ryder, but here we are. And, their loss is going to be somebody's gain. And I'm looking forward to seeing Ryder come back. And as annoying as the woo chants were, God damn it, they were fucking contagious. And I mean, the guy had fun, and you can see it every time he did his little promos and the shit. So, I mean, God bless him, dude. It's going to bounce back.
I mean, he's one of those guys that has a pretty dedicated fan base. Like literally, probably a couple hours after they announced that he was gone, he posted up. He opened up a pro wrestling tee store and posted up a shirt, and it was the highest selling shirt of the day.
Oh wow!
And then, he got the major. He and Kurt have the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. And they did their Live 5 thing on YouTube, and they announced that they're going to have like little micro brawlers in the next 2 pro wrestling crates. Literally, like a couple hours after that announcement, the pro wrestling crates were sold out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, they have a good fan base, so.
Yeah. So, he's just one of those guys. It's like, even if you're not going to use him on TV, the guy has other uses to you.
Yeah.
He could be, used in merchandise, pushing stuff. He could be, he got toy knowledge up the wazoo.
Which kind of baffles me on some of these releases, and it kind of makes me wonder what some people's roles are in the company, like Apollo Crews. I love Apollo Crews, but what else is he being used for?
Yeah.
Like in the case with like Gallows and Anderson. Gallows and Anderson are kind of like Zack Ryder in that way, where there's ways that you can use them outside of actual in-ring action.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if it weren't for them, there would be no Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
Yeah.
Like you can
damn right, baby.
And it's like, you can't tell me that there's 15, 20, 25 other people in the company. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see anybody ever lose their job because it's fucking horrible. But you can't tell me that there's not more people in that company that can give more back to the company that you're working for, like Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
I feel the same. I feel the same way. I was going to say Jinder Mahal kind of surprised me that he wasn't on this. Again, I don't want to see anyone get fired, but like if he got cut, I don't think it would be as big of a shock.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take a piss. I'll be back.
So. All right. Well, we're lost.
But Yeah. So of all the names, that we just went through, here's the thing. Like right now, it's really shitty because there is no wrestling going on. There essentially is no indie scene.
No.
Other companies aren't really producing on a regular basis. This whole fucking monopoly, if you will, that WWE has right now, it's really fucking shitty. And I've like lately, I've really been like listening to a lot of these great like wrestling podcasts. I watch a lot of these videos and talk about the old territorial days and stuff like that. And some of the tactics like McMahon used to use, like how basically going to the cable companies and saying like, hey, if you guys show Starrcade, you won't be able to show WrestleMania. All these vicious tactics and things like that. And this right now, it's like, look, I understand, companies will get to a point where the economy is down or shit's going on. They got to make these unnecessary cuts, or these necessary cuts. But this is just so unnecessary. A lot of these guys, some of these guys, hopefully have saved up quite a bit of money. They're going to be fine. Once everything blows over, they're going to bounce back. But a lot of them are just like, like Eric Young. I just really don't see him doing much. Because he's already kind of getting up there in age. Hopefully for him, like I think a good move for him would be part of like a training camp, or helping guys get into the business, helping them kind of develop into future superstars. I think for him would be a really good move. I mean, maybe he might have a few years left. I mean, nowadays guys are like in their fucking 40s, and look at Jericho, dude. He's pulling off amazing matches close to 50, and you got guys like Taker that can barely do anything, and you have to kind of go around that and do these boneyard matches, these cinematic masterpieces to kind of hide some of that shit. But it's a really tough time for these guys, because it's not like, oh, I'm going to go here now. It's like, well, what are you going to do in the meantime?
Yeah, well, I mean, the meantime sucks. I'm sure a lot of these guys have saved enough money to where they can actually live comfortably and don't have to work for a little while. Yeah. But once everything gets back into full gear, and once everything starts to open up again and people start going back to work, guys like Zack Ryder and Eric Young and the Good Brothers and all them, there's always room and there's always work for those guys, no matter where they go. They can go to Japan, they can work indie territories in the United States, they can basically go all over the world and get work somewhere. So then there's some guys that will just create work. Guys like Gallows, he has a wrestling school.
They're speaking of Gallows, they actually are bringing back Talking Shop.
They brought back Talking Shop.
Yeah,
nice.
So
I listened to the first 3 episodes yesterday.
Well, they've already recorded 3 episodes.
Yeah. Well, they brought back Talking Shop 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So the next episode will be the first post WWE Talking Shop.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a good one, I'm sure.
Dude, the first 3 episodes are fucking great anyway, because they have connections to NWA Texahoma, which was the Tiger King. He had his involvement in that.
Wow.
So I don't know if have you guys watched Tiger King?
Not really, no.
Okay, I've watched it. I watched the first episode just to kind of see what it was about.
Yeah.
But it's fucking hilarious listening to these guys talk about that Joe Exotic, dude.
Well, remember I played the clip, or somebody played the clip on the show when he wanted to run for president, and he had like the best fucking campaign video ever.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on this whole Tiger thing situation. It's blowing up and everyone's talking about it and this and that, and it's like I'll probably watch it at some point, but like I don't know. I'm in no rush,
Yeah.
To really catch it.
I after when Elizabeth went to bed the other night, I turned it on just so I can kind of see what it was about, and I'm like, it's entertaining. It's pretty crazy just to see like just how these types of people work,
Yeah.
And live, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you want me to get back to the list?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
The next set of people may have just been furloughed. It's Kurt Angle, Aiden English, Lance Storm, Shane Helms, Sarah Stock, Scott Armstrong, Billy Kidman, Finlay, Pat Buck, Sean Daivari, Mike Rotunda, Andrea Lissenberg. She's a writer. Like she's the one that's behind the Otis,
the Mandy Rose,
Okay. The Otis Mandy Rose storyline, and then Jerry Soto, the Spanish language announcer. Like, I'm not sure with the Kurt Angle thing, because they said that he was on that initial article being released. So I'm not sure if he's been released from the company. So,
well, he tweeted out right after it was released that he was fired or let go, that he said he posted a bunch of pictures until the next time.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he's been let go.
Yeah.
Unless they change their mind.
Yeah.
So which they're prone to do.
Yeah. Which it's why are you keeping Kurt Angle around? He's not even on TV. He's not producing. He's not doing anything. He's sitting.
Well, he's an agent.
Oh, is he an agent?
Yeah, he's an agent now.
All right.
Okay.
So
then never mind.
Yeah, and the next set of wrestlers is NXT talent, which is there's a lot of names on here. We got Deonna Purrazzo, Alexander Jaksic or Jacek, MJ Jenkins, Nick Ogarelli, Tainara Conti, Dan Matha.
Oh no, not really.
Yeah,
that sucks. She was actually pretty talented. I liked her.
Yeah.
She was the one in the Mae Young tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Tainara Conti. Yeah. Then Dan Matha, Cesar Bononi, Mars Wang, Tino Sabatelli, which he was been in Tino has been in developmental for a long time.
Yeah.
Like in that initial.
Sorry, man. I'm still hung up on Wang.
But Tino Sabatelli, that Breaking Ground docuseries that WWE did on the network.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the focus.
Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
not for long.
Yeah. And then we got Mohammed Fahim, Marcos Gomes, Fasil Kurdi, Edgar Lopez, Hussein Alagal. I don't know how it's Yifeng. And then it says Rocky in parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
Josiah Williams. Ace Steel.
Ace Steel?
Yeah, he was a coach.
Oh, he's a trainer, yeah. That's
right. Kendo Cashin. He was another coach. Serena Deeb, who was also a coach. And then the name that was just announced that I saw last was Chris Hero.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
he was doing really good in the UK too, man. That's a shock.
That surprised me because of the stuff he's been doing in the UK, because he's been a trainer in the UK system also.
Yeah.
And I'm just like it says that he may have been furloughed, but considering he's been fired once before, it really wouldn't shock me if he's been let go. Which sucks because the guy's been wrestling for 20 years, and he got probably the most knowledge out of anybody on the list, in all honesty, as far as as long as history goes.
Yeah.
He's a legit wrestling historian, and he could really provide a lot for the upcoming talent, especially people that aren't necessarily indie wrestlers or former athletes or whatnot. So it sucks to see, because I'm a big Chris Hero fan.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that I didn't like initially, but then you just saw him work and you just seen how hard he worked, and it's like, okay, no, I really like this guy, and then it turns out he's a big sweetheart and everything. So
he's a real good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to 7, or no, it was Vortex, Vortex, right? Or was
it was 7.
We got to meet him after that. He was really, really cool dude.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the last of the names. So if any of them have pro wrestling tee stores or anything like that,
support them.
You could support them. Yeah, support them. Chris Hero's store never closed. So
Yeah.
He has all of his gear on there, which is kind of cool. Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona. He's like I said, he just opened his store. Kurt Hodkins, Brian Myers, he has a store on there. And if you're a Mets fan, which I know none of us are, but he's like a huge he's a huge Mets fan, and he got like a few like Mets inspired designs,
nice.
Which are kind of cool. Like it's like the Mets logo, but instead of saying Mets, it says Myers across it, which is which is pretty cool. So I'm probably going to end up buying that shirt just because.
Yeah,
it's cool. Shirt, but yeah, like these releases couldn't have came at a worse time. Like it's never good to lose your job.
Yeah, never, but right now.
Especially right now that these guys cannot take independent bookings or anything. I know the NXT people are being paid for at least 30 days. So, and I think the people that are on main roster contracts they're on the 90-day no compete clause. I think they do get paid, which that's fortunate for them. But because like indie wrestlers now are making zero money, unless they're selling merch. It's just disappointing that WWE took this route and support these guys in whatever future they do. A couple of them have podcasts. Listen to the podcasts and whatnot. They're all
# worst podcast ever. Talking shop. Fucking love it.
So
did you see the Gallows and Anderson shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees?
No, I didn't.
They're pretty cool. Yeah. They're just basic, like nothing spectacular, but I like them.
Yeah. But
hopefully this is to be the return of Sex Ferguson, not Tex Ferguson.
There you
go. He actually appeared on a Major Wrestling Figure podcast Live 5 as Sex Ferguson.
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, because like this was taped back on the 10th, but like he like did like one of the openings, like one of like the, and he cut a promo as Sex Tex Ferguson.
Nice.
So
nice.
That was pretty funny.
It's sad and it sucks that all these guys lost their jobs, all these guys and girls, but hopefully, like when Crispy and I were talking when Dave was in the restroom, that when the economy kicks back and everything starts opening up, hopefully a lot of the names that we heard that got released will be brought back in some capacity.
Yeah.
Especially a guy like Zack Ryder who's been there forever. I don't think Gallows and Anderson will come back, but there's a few guys on the list that should be brought back, and hopefully will be brought back. But Vince McMahon is such a fucking scumbag; he probably won't do it.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was questioning. Like after all this stuff blows over, after we go back to a sense of normalcy. Like, will WWE go back to doing what they did? Like, hoarding talent and whatnot. That'll be interesting to see. So.
I really hope.
Definitely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bubs.
No, WWE will go back to doing that. As soon as they see talent out there and they want it, they will go get it. They're going to hoard as much talent as they can.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is so fucking paranoid that people are going to hurt his company.
Yeah.
It's going to be business as usual for him.
He possibly can, because if he sees potential or if he sees anything, that it factor in somebody, he's going to do whatever he can to get that person, so that person doesn't go to AEW, doesn't go to ROH or Impact, because if Vince McMahon doesn't see that claims that these companies aren't a threat, he obviously does with all the talent that he hoards.
Yeah.
When he doesn't fucking need it.
Well, I definitely think, to answer your question, he will continue to do that. But I really hope that a lot of wrestlers smarten up and they don't get caught up in that. I think you're going to see a new trend of guys that are just like, look, you know what, my contract's almost over. I'm not going to resign. I'm going to try somewhere else, because there has been a very good track record for guys that, didn't resign and left and, are doing pretty good. I think after, Moxley, what he did, I think a lot of people like open their eyes and says, hey, you know what? Like I feel him. I'm in the same position. I'm going to do the same thing. Some guys tried to get out of their contracts only to be withheld and say, oh, you know, you were hurt for a while back in this time, so we're going to extend your contract and all that shit. But I think wrestlers are going to smarten up, and they're going to say, you know what, like WWE, that's not the way to go, man. And hopefully within many years to come, probably a long time from now, to be honest with you, but it'll probably fade off and it'll be nothing, dude, because like it's going to get worse and worse. It's the same shit, man. It's like being in a relationship and then thinking the other person's going to change, and they're not.
Yeah, it doesn't change with anything.
That's what it is.
I mean,
I think you're getting. Go ahead.
Go ahead, dude. Finish up.
I'd say you have a lot of guys coming up now, guys and women too, that are coming up, just huge fans of wrestling and are all about the wrestling. Some people stay in the indies because, they're, they don't want to get stuck in some, oh yeah, you'll make good money, but then what's going to happen to me? I'm going to be some fucking bullshit character. I'm going to be in some bullshit angle. I mean, Darby Allin had the best quote, if he signed with WWE, they'd probably have him jacking off in a fucking boiler room somewhere. And I believe that to an extent, because WWE had guys, they got a hold of guys that were fucking huge names, either in the indies or other promotions, that when they signed on, it was exciting news. Like, okay, we're going to get to see him on a regular basis. It's going to be great. And nothing happened. They built up guys from NXT. Yeah, there you go. They built up guys from NXT. Same thing. It's just like, there's just nothing there. You're not going to replicate a Hogan. You're not going to replicate a Cena. And if you do, I mean, look at those guys. I mean, Cena is no different than Hogan. I mean, both of them can't really wrestle, but merchandise through the roof and spokespersons for the company, shit like that. But there are guys out there, like, look at Brian, dude. Brian's been wanting to wrestle and tried to wrestle ever since, he retired and all that shit. It took a long road. And I think they finally, just said, okay, hey, let him wrestle. I'm sure he was cleared a long time ago. They're guys that just care more about the sport of wrestling than they do about the money. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that going forward. That's why you haven't seen other guys that are big. I'm sure they're offering contracts. I mean, we all know the money that they offered Omega and the Bucks. I'm sure they made offers to like Ospreay and all these other guys, and they're just like, nah, you know what, I'm good. I know what I'm worth. It's knowing what you're worth versus what the company thinks you're worth. And they're going to tell you all this shit. They're going to say, hey, we're going to make you a star. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But it's not going to happen. So they're going to try. But I really think there's going to be a wave of people going, nah, I'm good. Maybe later, Yeah,
like you alluded to, like, people look at what Moxley did,
Yeah.
Jericho's the one that really got that ball rolling. I mean, WWE, they wanted to sign Jericho again. Yeah, they wanted to sign Jericho again, and Jericho's like, nah, I'm going to go to this other place and try that out first. It's really about a lot of these guys that hopefully have enough balls and enough drive and enough creative force behind themselves to say no and actually get out there and take the risk when everything gets to start up again, and everybody can go out there and make new opportunities for themselves. It's really what they really need to concentrate on. Because you can go to New Japan, you can go to these different companies and really get your name out there. And now, luckily, in this country, we have 2 wrestling companies that have television shows on national television. So you don't have to necessarily go to Japan. You can go to Japan and get your feet wet there and get a feel for what it's like and build a brand, and then come back over here, and hopefully a company like AEW will look at you and be like, hey, come aboard and let's make this even bigger.
Yeah.
So
yeah. As a wrestling fan, I'm grateful for guys.
Jericho went to Japan, but I mean, given he's an entertainment anomaly, because he can basically do everything. But that's a big risk. As I'm talking about Jericho, he just pops up on my screen for the Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah. But I mean, he took a risk. A guy that was loyal to a company for 20 years.
Yeah.
Just basically told him to fuck off. And he went, and I would say Jericho is arguably bigger now than he's ever been.
Yeah.
Without Vince's backing.
Yeah.
And that's the proof right there. Yeah. Saying, you know what, I can make it. I can make the bigger brand. I don't, it wasn't because of you, it was all me,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just saying that, as a wrestling fan myself, I'm very grateful for someone like Tony Khan, who grew up as a fan, and very similar to a lot of us. Like when he was a kid, he would have his own little, fake wrestling organization where he made matches and had guys, and I myself, when I was a kid, with my action figures, and I even, I made belts out of, my dad's old beer boxes and shit. I was really into it, and he grew up, and having the financial backing, him being a con, and his dad, being this billionaire, and he had the money, and he's like, hey, you know what, let's do this. And not only did he do it, but he never once applied like a business, like, and he knows what the fuck he's doing. And AEW has their issues, as every new company is going to have, but like at the very core of it, like I've been watching, Dynamite lately, ever since the whole thing, because I can't go to the gym early in the morning anymore, so I could stay up a little later, and I watch it. And I gotta tell you, man, like it's no different than NXT with the empty arena shows, but it's just more entertaining. It's just more fun. Chris Jericho has been doing commentating, which has been fucking brilliant, man. He's so fucking good, and it's just, there's just something about the product that separates it. Like anytime you have something new, there's always that excitement level. Like it's new, it's different, it's going to be great. Then sooner or later it kind of reverts to like a stale style. And I don't know that's going to happen with AEW. I certainly hope not. But, I think that, this situation right here is really beneficial to that company because they're going to be, they're going to be able to, look at everyone that got released and, kind of pick who they want. And I think they're going to pick a lot of surprising names because a lot of these guys, they're great. Or a lot of these wrestlers, women and men included, are great talent that have potential that just need that opportunity. And McMahon used to brag about like, well, I don't do guarantees. I do opportunities. But yeah, even your opportunities now mean shit, So I think for wrestling fans in the year to come, I think it's going to be exciting and it's going to be really great because we're going to get to see guys in the light that we didn't get to see before. And that goes across the board. I mean, Jericho is a great example, Bubs, of someone that, obviously made a big name for himself in WWE, but, he was coming into that. He had made a name for himself in Japan, in Mexico. He got the buzz at WCW. WCW just didn't really put a lot of, no different than Stone Cold, and they didn't put a lot of faith into him and really push him and just give him small things. I mean, everything would have been different if they just gave him the Goldberg angle. I'm sure if they'd have pushed him to a match with Goldberg like he was working for, that might have changed things. But sooner or later, guys are just going to, move on because they know what they're worth. And that ultimately is what makes it a better product for everybody. So, this fucking, and furloughed, by the way, if I'm correct, it means that you're basically not fired, but we're not going to pay you. So that's even worse.
I really hate that word.
I would rather be fired, especially as a wrestler, as an independent contractor, to be fired and like just do my 90 days and then, okay, I'm free. I can go anywhere and do whatever I can. Because, I think guys like Mike Rotunda, Lance Storm, Kidman, those guys are furloughed. That means you're just not going to get paid, but they can't go and do anything. So if an opportunity comes, they can't even fucking go.
Yeah.
Now, Mike Rotunda is a really interesting one because that's Bray Wyatt's father.
Yep.
And a lot of people might know him as IRS, as a character, this fantastic
got released on
wrestler.
tax day.
That was coming. But I mean, it's just some of these ideas, some of these names, just they don't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. But like, why would you release some of these guys or furlough these guys or go? Why would you do anybody really? This is just fucking stupid, Because right now it's just like, look, you bullshitted your way. You fucking cheated. You paid money to become an essential business. Okay, so you can do live tapings. You can keep it super fucking fresh and show all these guys off. You can do fucking months of television with original fucking matches and great content. This is a good opportunity to do that, but you don't. And I think what hasn't been talked about is that they're feeling the burn from Fox, for example, in these contracts that they have, because I'm sure there's a loophole in their contract that Fox could probably release them because the ratings are not there.
Here's the thing. Like originally they were going to go back to doing live shows. Like that was like a big thing because like Raw was live this week. I think NXT was live. And I want to say SmackDown was live also. But apparently Fox is letting them do, Fox and USA are allowing them to do tape shows again. Which is good. Like, so like you don't have people flying in every week. You don't have, they could tape for a few weeks and everything. So that's good for the health of the wrestlers,
Well, I heard that it was McMahon that changed his mind to do the tape to go live.
Yeah, the reason why is because in the contract, in the Fox contract specifically, they're limited in the number of tape shows that they can do. So I think they worked out a deal with Fox to where now they're allowed to do tape shows again. So hopefully that means they'll go back to doing tape shows. I know they've already taped part of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view
on top of Titan Tower.
God, do you know the fiasco with that? Did you hear what they're doing?
Yeah, they're doing like a cinematic match where guys start on the bottom floor of Titan Tower, and they have to fight their way to the roof.
Fucking roof.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Oh my God.
The pictures remind me of the old Raw opening where they're fighting on the roof, because that was also taped on top of Titan Tower.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The fucking cops and I remember that shit.
So, I know, Bubba, you look kind of annoyed at that, but I actually think it's kind of funny, and I'm actually interested in seeing that. So
I know, but they're gonna run these cinematic matches right into the fucking ground. I
mean, like it was cool, but they're just gonna
really good ones at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I like the Gargano Ciampa one was pretty good.
I haven't watched Gargano Ciampa yet, but
a lot of people didn't like it because it was really long. Like it was like 45 minutes long.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 45 minutes including commercials. So on the network, it's more like 38 minutes or something like that. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. So
for what it was.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a great way to end it for now, because Lord knows they'll wrestle again until the next time.
But I'm interested in the Money in the Bank taping. Like I think that would be that's probably the only match I'm going to watch at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Because I've already canceled my network subscription.
Oh yeah, same.
So
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, honestly, man, it's so crazy because like 20 years ago, to even have the thoughts I'm about to say would not have been me at all. But like like I said, I made this very clear. The only reason I still keep my WWE Network account is simply because of the Vault. I mean, if you go on right now to my account, you'll see everything I've been watching is all old school shit. It's all like WCW and all this shit, because that, to me, that's $10. I mean, as a kid, I would have loved to have bought out my video store. Lord knows I tried. I made so many offers to that guy, to buy those tapes, and it didn't happen. But I'm just kind of getting just tired and fed up. Like, I don't watch, Raw or SmackDown. I haven't watched a complete show in like years. And you know what? Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not missing anything. And sooner or later, I'm going to get to the point where I don't even want to watch these pay-per-views, man. You know what I mean? I think it's a shame, because like there's guys that I respect and I back and I support, guys that I want to see succeed because I'm huge fans of them. I'm marks for them, if you will. But like, I'm just so fed up with the fucking company and McMahon and all this bullshit, this, tyranny. And it's just like, the man's like the Keith Richards of wrestling, dude. He just won't fucking go. You know what I mean? And it's just like all this shit. And then now, like him working with Trump as a business, as I don't know, a fucking consultant to help boost the economy.
Oh yeah,
fucking agreed. So it's only a matter of time before I'm just like, I'm fucking done and I don't want to watch anything new. I'm just gonna stick to the old school. There's an old saying that basically, when you start watching wrestling, you're gonna be engaged, or you're a fan of the first 10 years. So the first 10 years of everything that you watched is what you're going to always go back to, and you're going to always, remember and be a really big fan of. And for me, that's absolutely true, because that's 90 to 2000 for me, give or take. 89's a little rough.
Weirdly, I'm more of like the first like probably 18 years that I watched wrestling, because I always jump back between like the 90s and late 80s stuff, and then I also go into like the Ruthless Aggression era and stuff. And I think the reason why is because I started watching TNA and indie wrestling in like mid 2000s. So that probably extended it a few years. I think if I never like started watching independent wrestling, that I wouldn't be into wrestling as I am right now. So
yeah, it's just it's becoming frustrated. You know, I'm becoming frustrated with it, and it's just a damn shame. But you know what, dude? I grew up in the Monday Night War era, and I know the tag that there's always a better company. There's always another company, and I was very lucky to have my choice between WWE, WCW, DCW, and of course, you know, looking back, and you know, there were great times for all three companies, but I'm tired of where it's going because it's not going to get any better. It's really not. It's just gonna. It's all. Remember that time period where we were almost embarrassed to be a fan.
Oh know? Yeah, like 2010.
Yeah,
like between like, I remember back in 2008, both me and Bubba stopped watching for like a month, and then a month later they put the title on CM Punk, and we started watching. Yeah. So like I was sick of it. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost the same thing where you're like, I'm gonna stop eating fast food, and then they come up with this like new burger, and you're like, I gotta eat that burger. Gotta try that. You know, it's I call it the Godfather 3 scenario. You know,
it's like I'm gonna try the new burger, and that's it. And then you end up going there like 8 times over like the next week.
Yeah.
So.
That's how it was.
Because when you
that was me with Wendy's breakfast.
Yeah.
How is it, man? How was Wendy's breakfast?
Delicious, man.
Delicious.
So good.
Yeah, and I'm still gonna try it myself.
Give it a shot.
Because I mean, in conclusion to my rap here, and you know, bear with me because I'm fucking shooting on this one here. Where's my finger? I'm shooting with this, but it's just like as I get older and the things that I'm doing in my time, it's just so valuable to me. And it's like, you know, when I'm a kid, fucking 2 hours a night on a Monday or Friday, that's fine. I'm not doing anything. I'm good to go. But now I'm like, you know, man, I'd rather do something else. You know, I'd rather fucking, you know, and I got my, you know, me and Mike specifically, we got our fingers in a lot of cookie jars, and we got a lot of projects and a lot of things going on. It's just like, do I want to just spend 3 hours watching this shit? No. I don't, because it's going to be just, remember when it was like you stayed up late as a kid and you woke up the next day, you were fucked, and you're like, you know what? It's fucking worth it. It's fucking worth it. Now it's just like, God, I'm a fucking idiot. Why did I do that? I would have rather. So, but yeah, that's the state of wrestling, you know.
I should have brought more beer with me. I'm out.
Oh, shit.
I'm out of beer.
Oh, man.
At least I have to get up and get more.
Yeah. Times are tough, baby. Times are tough.
He's like, I gotta walk all 2 feet
any
to
other
my fridge.
Any other thoughts on the releases or the state of wrestling right now?
Shitty.
The Revival. Talk about them.
I was just about to bring up the Revival.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That people aren't really mentioning them in this like batch of releases because they didn't get released that same day. You know, but yeah, they already have their indie names as far as I know. I think one is
What are they?
Let's see. I think one is.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead and speak. Let me look this up.
I was gonna say, what I know is that I think the name they're gonna go with is the Revolt, because they have Fear the Revolt. They're in the process of getting that trademark. So I think it's safe to say that their wrestling name is going to be the Revolt, because fucking WWE trademarked the Mechanics, which was a shit ass move on their part. Yeah. But
did you guys?
The names it escapes me though. So go ahead, Dave.
Did you guys see the report about Vince McMahon turning them into a comedy act?
Oh yeah.
Did you see? Did you see?
I just saw it today. Yeah.
Did you see the costume designs that they had for him?
Yeah, the Flavor Flav clock made me laugh.
Let's see.
So
I don't know how well you can see it on here, but let's see. That's one of them.
Oh my god.
No, I can't. It kind of blurs out a little bit, but I did see it's on No DQ. They have it listed there if you guys want to see it. But it's just fucking. You know, I'm sure you guys are aware. There's like that who Conrad Thompson is. I'm sure you've heard the name. You're familiar with that dude. He does a shit ton of fucking wrestling podcasts with like everyone from JR to Eric Bischoff, and one of them that's one of my favorites is Arn. He does one with Arn Anderson, and they asked Arn. So they do a Q&A a lot on that show. They asked him about the Revival, and Arn said something like, to him, the Revival kind of always felt like, him and Tully Blanchard, and just the way that they wrestle and they carry themselves off and just guys that are just like fucking great workers. They're not all about the flashy gimmicks. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of really shocking in the sense that WWE would even consider turning these guys into a joke because they're anything but a joke. Their matches with American Alpha and NXT are fucking, phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're so fucking good. And I remember telling Jeremy, he's like, what do you recommend me watch? I said, you watch the Revival, and I get it. I'm with the Elite. Fuck the Revival. Obviously it's a joke, it's funny to me, but I respect the Revival and these guys. And it's just like a good example of talent slipping through their fingers because Vince McMahon is a fucking ass. But what I remember hearing the names, Dave. I don't recall off the top of my head. I couldn't say it, but if you have it in front of you, man, please.
I think Scott Dawson is going to be known as Dax Harwood. I think that's his real name. And then let's see. I'm looking up Dash Wilder to see if his Wikipedia says anything. And Dash Wilder is going to be known as Cash Wheeler.
Wheeling dealing. Love it.
Hey, I mean, they will probably go to AEW, so that's going to be pretty big when they go.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, especially because this has literally been building up for years.
Yeah.
The whole fuck the Revival thing, and them kind of taking that hashtag and putting it on their tights and stuff, the FTR hashtag, and really running with that, like the Forever the Revival and whatnot. So it should be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna do an angle with Cody, because Cody's been the one really I've seen it lately, or not lately, but on those videos saying fuck the Revival, and the whole thing with Jake Roberts and Lance Archer, which has been a really fucking entertaining angle. I mean, it's gonna build to an obvious outcome, if you watch wrestling long enough, you know how this shit works out. But that's gonna be fucking amazing. I for one feel that they're definitely going to AEW. I feel like Rusev is AEW bound too, to be honest with you.
I think Rusev's going to go to I think Rusev is going to go to New Japan.
You think so?
Yeah.
No. I mean, who's to say, New Japan to AEW? I mean, he's got many great years ahead of him, but I feel like let me rephrase my statement. At some point, Rusev will be in AEW. And I think that, when that point comes, he'll definitely be in a contender for like a AEW champion. I think his best days are to come for sure.
Well, I think the one that's pretty obvious that it seems the last few days has been Zack Ryder. Matt Cardona, as what he's known as now, because that's his real name.
I can't call him Matt Cardona.
Yeah, that's just, I've listened to their podcast every week, so I'm used to calling them Matt and Brian. So, because that's what they go by on their podcast, since it wasn't a WWE production.
Yeah.
So, I think he'll go to AEW. I think both Zach and Kurt will go to AEW. So, especially Zach, because Cody has been posting like gifs of Zach over the last few days and whatnot. So,
yeah.
So
bromance, #bromance for real.
I mean, either way, I'm interested in seeing what the future holds for all these guys. To see which ones really kind of step up and try to make a name for themselves. And try to.
Now's the time.
Once the independent wrestling scene comes back, there's going to be a lot of good names. That these indie companies, get the book. Like, I'm interested in seeing what Zack Ryder does on the independent scene. I'm interested in seeing what Heath Slater does on the independent scene. To see,
Well, I'm with you. I'm very curious, but I will say this: I think for sure, guys like Heath Slater, when they appear on the indie scene, they're gonna finally get like the big pop and respect that they deserve. Because Heath Slater's always been a fan favorite, man. Especially with the last couple of years, his "I Got Kids" thing, and teaming with Rhino. Rumor has it, not rumor, but like there's a theory going around that he might go to TNA. Rhino's there, and I thought that they worked as a good tag team. So the bottom line is all these guys and gals that got released, there's a lot of potential and there's a lot of interest. I think once you've got WWE on your resume, I think that it opens the door for a lot of meetings, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So, I for one wish them the best, and support them the best I can. I mean, that "I Got Fired" t-shirt, when I saw it, I was like, fucking A, dude. Like this, with that kind of attitude, because there's two ways to go about it. You can just be down in the dumps and be, hateful, and you go on the podcast and you talk all the trash, or you just be like, you know what, like it sucks, but I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to bounce back and I'm going to do good. And a lot of guys have, which has been fucking great. I mean, wasn't that long ago where fucking, Drew got released, and then he made a pretty big name for himself, and he got sort of invited back, if you will, and now he's the champ. So, I think to leave and make a name for yourself, you come back, you have a lot more footing, a lot more ground to like make a deal. So, all the best to them. My hearts go out to them right now. It was shitty to hear. Couldn't believe it, especially on fucking tax day, or the April 15th. It was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then McMahon goes on to say, like, well, we didn't know CM Punk was going to get married that day when we sent the papers. Yes, you fucking did. You're a petty motherfucker.
Yeah, he knows all about the timing.
But all right, do we want to get into our last segment here?
Yeah.
All right.
I almost fucking forgot.
Okay, I want to
passionate about wrestling again.
Right.
Before we get into that, Bubba did have an idea but Crispy said he needed more time to put his idea together. So that'll probably be saved for the next episode. So
can I just talk about that really quick, Bubs? I've told you on the chat we do. I think it's a fucking great idea. I really do. The problem that I have is to recast an entire, cast. It's a bit of a challenge, because for me, if you'd have said like, hey, can you pick a movie and recast one part? I mean, that would have been a lot easier. I'll give you a great example. Girl on the Third Floor, I would have recast CM Punk with what's his name from Breaking Bad. I had the name in my head. I totally forgot. What's his name? Aaron? You know what I'm talking about? The other guy.
The guy that plays Jesse.
What's that?
The guy that plays Jesse.
Yeah.
Yes,
Aaron,
yes.
What the hell is his last name? I'm freaking freezing on that now.
I had the name in my head the whole time as an example.
We have our phones here, so.
Yeah. So if anybody pulls it up, let me know. But like that example, I would have definitely recast that guy.
Aaron Paul.
Instead of
Aaron Paul, that's what it was. Okay.
Aaron Paul, yeah. I would have recast the role played by CM Punk with Aaron Paul. But to do an entire cast, because that's really interesting, because I had to think of a movie that was just like, God, everybody was horrible in it, Because if I have to recast the whole scene, it's like, why even do the fucking movie? But it's a challenge, and I definitely do want to do it. I get it's a great idea. I just need a little bit of time, because I have to think of what movie I want. I mean, I'm sure you guys have your ideas already. God bless you if you do. But it's just like, it's a challenge for me, because I'm just like, damn, dude, I got to recast everybody. Then why fucking do the movie? That's my thinking of it, anyways.
Yeah.
So,
but
we'll do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably save that for the next episode.
Okay.
So, but Mike threw out an idea. Go ahead, Mike, if you want to talk about it. So.
Yeah, I was just kind of saying, that of course, I mean, me being the big movie fan, and I'm sure, like we're all big, huge movie fans. Going to the movies was a pretty regular activity for all of us. So, I think I can speak on all of us saying that this whole quarantine. And not be able to, of course, not be able to go out, but not be able to go to the movies and watching stuff that we've been looking forward to has been a really big, kind of a really big setback. So, and of course, there's a lot of movies that are, that they push back, but they're still planning to release later in the year. So, I was proposing, that we just kind of just talk about stuff that we're just because we're all just kind of talking about stuff that we're looking forward to doing, but of course all the movies that we want to see once we're out and free and able to watch movies again. So just kind of just talk about that and like what we're looking forward to, because I'm sure we'll probably have a lot of the same ones, but I'm sure we'll probably have a lot of different choices. So let's get into it. Who wants to go first, or I mean, like we
Why
can
don't
just
you
kind
go
of just
first, Mike?
I know I had kind of put my list out there and like the chat and stuff, which I'll just kind of talk about. Actually, I was talking to Crispy earlier, and he brought up a very good point that I had. He was surprised that a certain movie wasn't in there, so let me just start off with that one. First of all, with the remake of Dune that's coming out later this year, I believe it's November, December, right? I think is what it is. And
originally slated for December.
Yeah. I'm not too sure. It's going to be a two-parter as well, right? Is that what they were kind of saying for?
What I heard was with Dune. I don't know if you guys ever seen the original made by David Lynch, which is really really fucking good and very very Lynchian, as the term has become a legend itself. But the story it's from this book, and the filmmakers decided that there was too much good material that would have been a cut from doing one film. They decided that they're going to go into doing it as a two-part film. I don't know to what extent, if they're going to do it like Avengers, how they broke down with Infinity War and Endgame. But the rumor going around is it's going to be two films, which is actually very exciting because it's so rare that when a movie is based on a book that it gets that proper respect, and they just say, hey, we want to cover a lot of. Yeah, it's possible it's going to be two. It might just be one. Again, it's so far down the line, in terms of release date and production. I think they were still working on it the last I heard, but I don't know. So it's very possible, Mike, it could be two films. Yeah. But for sure, originally slated was going to be for December. I don't know if they moved it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I had that one, and then of course I had one that I was going to see actually right before the quarantine shut everything down. It's going to be a Quiet Place 2. So I don't know if you guys were big fans of that one as well, but that's another one I was looking forward to seeing, and
ASMR the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
So that's when I was literally I think the week before everything shut down, I was like, okay, I had all planned out, I had the day off that day, ready from work, and I'm gonna go see it and everything, and then boom, everything shut down, and that kind of went to shit. So they haven't gave that one a pushback date yet, but I'm sure once everything frees up and opens back up, I'm pretty sure they'll put a release date for that one. So I'm looking forward to that one. Wonder Woman 1984, which I think I'm looking forward to. It looks pretty amazing. They had pushed that one back, I think, from July to I think November, I think is what they had said. So looking forward to that one. Godzilla versus King Kong, which I think it's still on track for its original release date, which is I think going to be in either November or December as well.
Yeah.
Of course I haven't seen the trailer for.
Yeah, a lot of these films that are getting released at this time are probably going to. I'm willing to bet will probably be pushed back to May or June
of 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least
because movies don't really draw that well in February and March.
Yeah, that's kind of the dead zone for them.
Yeah, so I'm willing to bet that a lot of these films will be pushed back to about summertime. So about late spring, early summer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I got that.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just say I got that one, and then I'm really of course there hasn't been any trailers or really kind of pressing for that, but of course I had seen the first Godzilla, and then King of Monsters. That was really cool. So, and this movie actually sounds really really cool as well. I mean, it's got King Kong in it. So
did the last Godzilla movie make a ton of money?
I know that. It wasn't like a super smash hit, but I know, I mean, it did make a decent amount of money to where they're like, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and finish off the series. So,
I mean, that's been
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think what had happened was that it made enough money to be considered a success. Obviously, the weird thing about Hollywood is that you would think if the movie makes what it spent and then plus, it would be considered a success. You spent $5 million to make a movie, and then you rake in $10 million. Oh, it's a success. They would no, because these movies, certain franchises have this huge expectation. They go, look, we spent $100 million on this film. We need to make $300-400 million for it to be considered a success, which is, that's the biz for you. But I think what happened with this movie was it was a huge hit. It made a lot of money, and I think it barely made past the point where they're like, okay, let's do another one. You know what I mean?
Comfortable.
But then again, it could have also been the original idea was, hey, when we're going to do, Godzilla, King of Monsters, we're going to lead into obviously King Kong, because that idea was placed, or they started talking about the idea back in the 2014 Godzilla. And then when they did Kong Skull Island, that's when they really cemented the commitment to the film. Yeah. So obviously King of Monsters was a way for them to introduce Eudora, because Eudora is going to be I believe is going to be a really big factor in the Kong movie, or Godzilla versus Kong movie, just because the way that they ended the last shot, if you will, after the credits rolled, with everything. Dave, did you see Godzilla versus King Kong?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you see Godzilla King of Monsters? Excuse me.
No, I did not. I wasn't a big fan of the first Godzilla, of the Godzilla reboot. It's just.
Well, how do you feel about Godzilla in general?
I used to love Godzilla as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, even like, you would tune in just like on randomly like channels, and they'd be showing like the old like Japanese Godzilla films with and everything. You would like just like watch it, and like back when I was a kid, I liked the American reboot, like the 99 one.
Yeah.
And then I watched it. I watched it like 7 years ago, I think, and I was like, "Holy shit, this movie's terrible."
It did not age well at all. No. It was just, it was like, how stupid were we when we were kids? We thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
It was just a shit movie.
Well, it was pretty much, I bought into the marketing, honestly, because that movie.
Yeah, it did it. It had a really cool marketing, because I remember, like, first of all, I think they had shown like a New Year's Eve commercial, like a trailer for it, and it was like the New York, when they were doing the ball drop, and then you just see the big giant Godzilla tail and doing some crazy shit. I'm like, that was a cool commercial, but yeah.
But like Walmart, or not Walmart, but like McDonald's had the cups and whatnot, so like I bought real big into the marketing. Since Bubba's tuning in, since Bubba's back, we're talking about the Godzilla in '99. I was going to mention one thing was the album that Bubba loved to torture the one song with me that I hated. Parade? Yeah.
Was it the Puff Daddy song?
No, the Macy Day Parade song.
Yeah.
Macy Day Parade.
Yeah.
No.
I hated that song.
Was that Days of the New? No, that was another one. Can I just tell you really quick? That was the second album I ever bought.
Oh, was it?
I still own it, dude. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there's a second, because here's the thing. Like, I got caught up in that shit too. But now that movie is so terrible. Like, me and the Fish, we don't even, like a lot of Godzilla fans do, we don't even want to call it Godzilla. We call it Giant Iguana New York Run Amok. That's exactly what the fuck it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's such a shit. I showed Jeremy this movie, and there was a scene where they finally reveal Godzilla, and he's just like, "What is it?" I go, watch. And he saw it. He goes, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I cussed." I go, "No, I'll allow it, because it's exactly the fucking proper set of it." It was such a horrible fucking movie. Dave, the reason why I asked how you feel about Godzilla is because Godzilla King of Monsters, it's exactly what you think it is. It's him fighting all these monsters. Yeah, and if you're a Godzilla fan, you should just check it out. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I think what pissed me off about the Godzilla reboot, and the second reboot, or whatever, how many reboots it's had, was the fact that it spent like, there was only like 5 minutes of like Godzilla on the screen, like throughout the entire film.
That one, yes.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
That's just the way it was planned.
And that was like the big complaint I remember from a lot of fans, including myself. And I was like, I just want more Godzilla. Than I know, like the King of Monsters came out, and pretty much the entire movie is just Godzilla like fighting like all of his biggest enemies. So
yeah, there is a lot more of them for sure.
Some of the good ones, some of the more famous ones, even though.
Okay, turn it off.
That's enough of that.
Can I just say really quick, of that entire album, there are 2 tracks that are fucking amazing: the Foo Fighters track and Fuzz Bubble. Those are the best fucking tracks on the album, hands down. Especially that Fuzz Bubble one, dude. That song Out There, goddamn, dude, can't get enough of it. But God bless you both.
The Jamiroquai song was pretty good. I remember.
Yeah, Deeper Underground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's what's it called? Untitled.
Rage is on too.
Untitled by Silverchair.
Oh, Silverchair, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Silverchair's on the
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, like, Ben Folds is on there too. But again, like to me, those are like the best tracks.
It's a great fucking soundtrack all the way through.
I think what I'm trying to say. My favorite tracks on the album, because
you're wrong, because they should all be your favorite tracks. All of them should be your favorite tracks.
Really? You're down with the look? Okay, well, I'll backtrack it a bit here. Wallflowers Hero is on there. It's a good track.
Yeah.
Brain Stew's on there. That's a good track. Jamiroquai, Rage Against the Machine. Fuel's on there. Okay.
Foo Fighters.
Silverchair, yeah.
The only song that I know I tortured Dave with it, but the only song that I don't like is Macy Day Parade by Michael Penn, which is Sean Penn's brother, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh man.
Yeah.
But okay. So yeah, let me apologize, retcon, and say again.
Oh, we're past apologies at this point.
Well, tell me how good Fuzz Bubbles track is.
Oh, Fuzz Bubbles track is fucking amazing too.
Yeah. All right. I openly admit that I own the record, and I still do. I like it enough to admit that I own it. Despite the god awful Puff Daddy track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that's god awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All he's doing is he's saying "Come with me again" over fucking Cashmere.
Yeah.
Dave, is Dave there? Because I said he'd be right back. I don't know if he's
back right now.
Actually, really quick though, I was going to ask you before we carried on. Bubs, did you have a movie in mind for your idea? I'm just curious if you already had one.
I do.
Okay, and you've recast the entire main cast.
I've recasted 3 characters.
Okay.
So, because I'm trying to figure out who my 4th, possibly 5th, is going to be.
Okay.
So, did you guys pick yours besides you, Chris? Because you said you didn't pick yours.
I had a couple of movies circling around, but I hadn't zeroed it in yet. So.
Okay. What about you, Dave?
I haven't thought of anything yet. That was the reason why I
The reason why we probably will never do this idea.
Well, no, because I was actually thinking about it the other night, and I was writing stuff down. So.
Right. Do you guys want me to give you my movie?
Yeah.
No, I want to do the list. I want to do this idea. So
yeah, but here's the thing: we're gonna do this movie. We're all gonna recast the movie ourselves. So I'm gonna do Bull Durham, and then your 3, and then, we're all gonna recast them.
Okay.
So.
Oh, you picked Bull Durham?
I did pick Bull Durham.
Wow, I'm kind of really curious to hear that. Actually,
I'm picking Bull Durham.
Okay.
Now, let me just ask you really quick before we jump back to the list. Obviously, you're not recasting because they did a horrible job. You're just recasting because you feel certain people would have done a better job.
No, not necessarily. It's just kind of how I think. I would just like to see a different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not. So the idea for next week is we pick a movie, we recast it, and then it can only be recast in the time that the movie was made or a modern reboot. I'm doing my recasting back when it was made in 82 or 84, wherever it was.
Okay, so we do have the option.
Yeah, you do have the option. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like from the time the movie came out. Okay.
Yeah, no, you have the option. You can't mix and match, though. You can't say, well, if I'm going to do this movie, I'm going to pick so-and-so from 75 and then so-and-so from this day. You can't mix and match. It either has to
be from either that time or the current time.
Made, or if it was the time that you're going to or a modern day reboot.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah. I think that okay, yeah, that changes it. Yeah. By the way, I just realized, was I talking loud the whole time?
No.
You're good.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because my brother texted me he's going to go to bed soon. He's like, can you tone it down a bit? And I just like, shit, was I talking loud the whole time? Okay, yeah. Well then, Bobs, I do apologize, because that changes a lot. I didn't know you had the option, because I think I could think of a few movies. Yeah, okay. Let's do it for the next show for sure.
So just whenever you guys think of your movies, let's all put it in the group chat so we could all recast, and then we could all pick our option or whatever like that, you know.
Okay.
Have we all seen Bull Durham?
Yeah, everybody's seen Bull Durham, yeah. Okay.
It's fucking great.
So.
All right, Mike, we were wrapping up with Godzilla. In conclusion, Dave, when you have a moment, I do recommend you watch King of Monsters. It's a really good movie. Then stick around at the end credits. There is a scene that's going to tie in for Kong, and I think it's going to be a very important tie-in too.
All right.
And now we take it back to Mike with the list in progress.
I was saying, and then another one I was kind of really looking forward to, of course, is Wonder Woman 1984. Had a really cool first trailer. I thought, and of course, it's something I've been I'm looking forward to. So, I'm sorry.
Here's the interesting thing about Wonder Woman 84 is that, what the hell? All right, they haven't shown Cheetah yet.
No, not yet.
But somebody got the pop vinyl.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So, and I saw the pop vinyl, and obviously that's not an accurate reflection of
the actual.
Yeah, of what the character is going to look like, but if it looks anything like that, it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
All right, Crispy.
Do you have a photo of it or no?
Yeah, I had to text really quick, so I just put my picture up for a moment.
Let's see. Yeah, sorry we're not professional like this. I don't know how to do all the fancy ass shit that people do. So
screen to screen.
And 6 years of doing this. We're not professionals. We're not going to be.
We're still learning.
The chat. Was that your list, Mike?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of see where they're going for. Yeah, but I still prefer to see what they're going to do in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, wait, Dave, can you do me a favor? Can you talk again and show it, because you didn't pop up?
Yeah, that's somebody posted a photo of the cheetah from Wonder Woman 1984.
That doesn't look bad.
Yeah. It's a terrible picture, sadly. So.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Someone has one for sale on eBay for $11 right now.
Oh, dude.
Already?
Yeah.
Shit.
That's funny.
Isn't it? It's number 328, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's not officially on sale, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My guess is that Target. He probably went to a Target, and Target was like, Target had it out, and they just didn't take it away from them like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was it was too early for the street date.
They're too busy tackling people taking too many toilet paper rolls. That's why.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, do you have any other movies on your list?
Yeah, that one, and then of course, Halloween Kills. You guys know how much of a big Halloween fan I am. So I mean, as far as I know, that one's still supposed to come out during Halloween time, and I've been hearing that they're supposed to release that trailer too pretty soon. So if that all comes to fruition, yeah, that's probably gonna be one of my top ones for this year. So,
all right, I'll go next. I'll just run through mine because a lot of these movies don't really have much to talk about. Morbius, they've already pushed that one back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I haven't seen Venom yet, so like the whole Sony Spider-Man universe, like I'm not.
You haven't seen Venom?
No.
Oh, I have. Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah. I rented it and I never watched it. So
yeah.
But I have the Stars. I paid for Stars, so it's on Stars, so I'm probably gonna watch it. So Jared Leto is hit or miss sometimes, so it is what it is. The Batman, obviously, that's coming up. That's projected for next year, but I'm willing to bet it gets pushed.
2022 probably.
Yeah, it gets pushed back to 2022 because they were filming that, and then all this shit happened. So
yeah, and that's why a pretty good estimate because I was reading an article where Matt Reeves was saying that that they only probably filmed about 25% of the movie. So
yeah,
still got a lot to go.
Yeah. The next film I have is Coming to America 2 or Coming to America. So.
Yes.
I love the first one so much. It's probably one of my top 20 favorite movies of all time. I've seen it like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So like, there's a part of me that's interested in seeing it, but I'm like, this is probably going to be fucking awful.
Well, I mean, if Dumb and Dumber 2 and all those have kind of been an example, but
I have high anticipation for that one. And let me just say this, boys, when everything gets back to normal or as normal as it can be, I say let's pick up Goes to the Movies again. Let's do Coming to America because that's a fucking fantastic movie. We should.
I agree.
I'm down.
For sure. Yeah.
The next film I had on my list was Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds.
Free Guy. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the concept of it, of him being like a video game, like artificial intelligence, kind of breaking out and becoming like a player. Like, to me, that's kind of interesting. That's an interesting concept. And the movie looks pretty funny. Like, it doesn't look great, but,
That's the one thing I missed about working at the theater. It was we had a really big like standout cardboard thing of that movie, the Free Guy, and I still walk by that thing about 20 million times a day. So.
And then the last film on my list is the Candyman reboot / sequel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I still don't know if that's what that is, but
that's as probably as good as a guess as mine as well. Yeah, like I'm not really sure. I mean, I saw the trailer for it, but still kind of like I don't know.
But I think Jordan Peele will do a good job, with it, and hopefully Tony Todd has a role as Candyman in it.
Yeah, dude, he has to.
So, but the trailer looked fantastic. That was like, I'm not a big horror guy, so like for me to like a horror movie or like be excited about a horror film says a lot, and the trailer was very well done. So, any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Like I'm the same. Yeah, like I'm not too sure about like what the story is, but I mean, like being a big horror guy and being a big fan of the original, like I'm excited. I mean, I'm gonna go watch it, so I'll be there.
Yeah, that's the last film on my list. So
all right. Bubs.
I've got a couple just off the top of my head right here. I don't know if we've already brought up, but the new Bond film, No Time to Die.
Oh yes.
I love the Daniel Craig Bond films. Skyfall is just one of my favorite films. Period.
Is that his last Bond film?
I'm guessing so. I think so. But, I mean, Spectre was supposed to be his last Bond film technically, and he came back. So you don't really know. But Jungle Cruise. I'm really excited to go see Jungle Cruise. Elizabeth was excited too. So it's one of her favorite rides at Disney. So we would love to see.
Same here.
Yeah, and I watched a lot of the Rock's movies, and they're not great, but they're fun to watch, and they're always exciting.
He's entertaining.
Yeah. But the last one's Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, yeah, there you go.
Ghostbusters was slated for this summer, and it's got pushed back to the first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
Interesting. What was that?
I don't know.
That was me. I had to move because everyone's going to sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I just had to come into the living room.
Keep it down up there.
Pretty much, yeah. So, Dave, really quick, you were talking about Candyman. I can tell you that Tony Todd does have pretty big involvement in that film, so it should be really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, fucking Candyman's a great series too.
It is, yeah.
Have they released a trailer for like a second trailer for Ghostbusters or anything like that?
No.
Not that I've seen.
No. Just that first like teaser one. So.
Yeah.
And I'm sure probably one would have been out, but like I said, everything with Hollywood, with everything, it just kind of got put on hold. So.
Yeah. Well, I noticed like they haven't even released like a new Wonder Woman trailer. That's why I was like, have they been releasing trailers? I'm not sure. So.
No, I haven't seen. I haven't seen anything new pop up in a while.
Yeah.
So,
Crispy, you got any more, Bubba?
Off the top of my head, no.
All right.
Okay.
Crispy, do you have any movies, upcoming movies that you're excited about?
Well, I mean, a lot of them have already been mentioned. I mean, Dune definitely is on my list. Halloween Kills is on my list. Ghostbusters is on my list. One that wasn't mentioned that I want to see is the new Bill and Ted film. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yep.
It's definitely on my list.
Did that get delayed also, or are they going to release that one via stream?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I think the smart move would be to, well, I don't know necessarily smart depending on if you're in the industry or a fan. I mean, I wish they would all be released, stream wise, because you're still going to pay to see it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the AMC's and movie theaters, they don't make money off the films; they make money off the concessions.
Yeah.
So by streaming, I mean, you can't go to the theater anyway, so that you can't, spend the money on the food, but you can still spend. Look, if you're going to spend $14 to watch a movie at the theater, why not spend it to watch it at your house? It makes perfect sense for me. I'd pay to watch it, but I think eventually a lot of these movies are going to be pushed back to next year because the time frame that they're originally slated for, they're either like beginning of the summer blockbuster or towards the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they moved it. I think it was originally slated for July or August, but they might have pushed it back, or they might push it back. But those, so that being said, Bill and Ted was mentioned that I do want to see. I'm also curious to see Tenet.
Guys, real quick, I'm going to sign out real quick. So I'll see you guys next week, okay?
For sure, man.
So,
okay, take it easy, bro.
Yeah, I'm done for the night. So.
All right.
Okay.
All right, but thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next week.
All right, have a good one.
All right, man.
Yeah, take care, brother. Tenet, the Chris Nolan Spiral, the Chris Rock extension of the Saw franchise. It's got me very curious. To see.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
All right, you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So, any recommendations or anything? Have you guys been watching on Netflix or anything?
Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, I've seen every episode except the Superfly Snuka one, which I'm going to watch tonight. I think it's been really good. Also, me and Mike, our buddy Thunder Horse, has released a book of poetry. It's on Amazon. It's under the name Wanderer. And let me see, because I actually had it pulled up here because I wanted to make sure that I said the title correctly. Where is it? I guess I don't have it, but I think it's something. Mike, do you know the title of it?
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, because I thought I had it pulled up.
It's under his author name is Wanderer.
Silence.
Yeah, and it's called Rebel in the Silence Volume 1. Yeah, and it's on Amazon right now. So you just you just type in Rebel in the Silence Volume 1 on Amazon, and it's there to buy, which is really cool. It's self-published and everything, so
cool.
Yeah, he cut some deal with Amazon, and they actually published his poems, which are I've read a few of them. They're really, really good. I'm going to be ordering the hardback really soon. I definitely want to have that in my collection. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. He's a really good friend of ours. He's also part of Beagle Films. A good guy, great poet too, man. I mean, it's up there with like Bukowski and some of the best works of the 20th century in terms of like the emotion behind it. From what I've read so far, he might have some shit poems. I don't know. I haven't read all of it yet, but from what I have read is really good. And I know he's, like I said, he's a friend of mine. He's a really good guy. He's a great poet. He's very artistic. So Revel in the Silence Volume 1 by Wanderer. It's like $15. If you're into poetry, pick it up. It should definitely be a good read.
All right. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's good for me, man.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this second volume of the CoronaCast, the F.A.T podcast. For myself, Debo, Crispy, Mike, and Bubs, thank you for listening.
Yeah, man. Hey, it was good. It's good to talk to you guys. I can't wait till our next session. So,
Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck how many Hulk Hogan's you feel, man. All right, guys. I'll see you later.
All right, boys.
All right,
it's great to see you guys. Talk to you. Guys, have a good night.
Peace.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
If it'll stop.
It'll keep going.
Stop recording.